Hi, everyone. Welcome to the LAFS podcast. I'm here with Gigi Vogel, the founder of De La Heart, a company that has a huge cult and following for wellness. And I want to hear all about it, how it started, how it's grown so organically, and how much you've impacted the lives of so many women.
My passion was wellness, and I was kind of ready to move away from the fashion world. And I started writing. I started writing for different blogs and publications, everything beauty and wellness related. I was trying so many different treatments and therapies that I just felt like people had to know and got to know. So I was invited to write, and it was the time of the blog. So I was like, let me just put everything in my own blog.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the LAFS podcast. I'm here with Gigi Vogel, which I just recently met last week. At a dinner. I had the amazing pleasure that I was sitting next to her. That's the beauty of when you get invited to events, that you have no idea who's going to be sitting next to you. And it's amazing what you've built, what you've created. I'm so proud. Originally born in Colombia, moved to the U.S. when you were around ninth grade, something along those lines.
Yeah, 13, 14.
And the founder of De La Heart, a company that has a huge cult and following for wellness. And I want to hear all about it, how it started, how it's grown so organically, and how much you've impacted the lives of so many women. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I never go to evening events because that's like rush hour at my house. And I'm glad I did because, we had such a nice time. Everybody asked me, how was the event? I'm like, it's about sitting. And I got two amazing women next to me. And, we were talking business and life and motherhood. And it's so nice. So,
and you have two young kids.
I do, 3 and 5.
Very young kids.
Yeah, they're so cute.
I have young kids, but not that young anymore. 8 and almost 11.
Okay.
But, you've got to be present. So I hear you when you talk about you can't choose going to all the events and you have to choose wisely, especially in Miami, that we can be getting invited to so many things,
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Miami's happening. I mean, everybody's living here now, and it's hard to pick and choose what you go to because obviously my kids are my priority right now, and I try,
So I want to hear all about the journey about De La Heart, but let's go back a little bit. So I know that you started your career in fashion. You did go to New York and you studied. Tell me about when you decided to take a shift into this world.
I went to college here at FIU. I went for international business and marketing. I did a double minor in marketing and finance. But I always had a passion for the creative. When I was little, I wanted to be an actress. My parents killed that really quick. And, they were first, immigrants and they had this idea that you go to college, you go to business school, you're a lawyer, like you get a real job, like that's what you should do. So I followed that as much as I could. So I tried to go to I worked for a Brazilian bank and I interned for a logistics company. And I was like, no, this is so not me. And I always had a passion for the arts, fashion, everything creative. My mom had clothing stores growing up. So I grew up around fashion and sales, retail in particular. So during high school and college, I worked in a lot of retail. I worked for Intermix for 12 years. I tried to do the New York shift when I worked for another clothing company, and we were doing all the markets. So I would spend weeks in New York, Atlanta, LA, Vegas. I was doing the market rounds, and that was really great, but that took a really strong toll on my well-being. I was working super hard because that job is really hard. It makes very little money. And I had to support myself. And it was also affecting my health. So I wasn't feeling great. I started gaining a lot of weight. My skin was breaking out. I was suffering from chronic UTIs. I was eating a very poor diet. I wasn't exercising. And I felt that I needed to come back to Miami to find myself. And I did that. Some of my friends were playing with psychedelics at that time. They invited me to Peru to try ayahuasca. I was like, sure, let's go. And that was kind of like the trigger of everything. Then I got really into yoga and I became a vegan and I started working with a holistic doctor in 2011 where nobody was talking about holistic anything. And I started to feel really good. My life started to change and I decided to leave fashion. And I tried a few little things after that. I was doing real estate because the market was really strong at that time to just pay my bills. And then I started repping Colombian designers in the U.S. That was around the boom, where Mercedes Salazar and kind of people were getting to know. Joanna Ortiz was really big at that time. So I started working for the smaller guys, trying to connect them with my fashion friends that I had. And that was great. But my passion was wellness and I was kind of ready to move away from the fashion world. And I started writing. I started writing for different blogs and publications, everything beauty and wellness related. I was trying so many different treatments and therapies that I just felt like people had to know and got to know. So I was invited to write and it was the time of the blog. So I was like, let me just put everything in my own blog. And in my mind, I thought I was building like the Latin goop.
What was it called, the blog?
Della Hart. It was Della Hart and I would do profiles on different women and people and products and facials and workouts, recipes.
So it was always, and it was not a fashion. You weren't writing about fashion. No. Always you were drawn to write about wellness.
Yeah, that I love fashion and I appreciate it, but what makes my heart sing is wellness and beauty for sure. But I never planned on starting a skincare line, and when I was working in one of my assignments, it was on lymphatic drainage and how celebrities get lymphatic drainage massages before the Oscars, before the Emmys, and what this does. And my personality, I have a laser focused vision. I went really in. I started doing all the classes, all the research, where it started, who started it, different therapies around the world, how we did it in Latin America, and where it all stemmed from. And I was just like, listen, I started doing it myself, but it was very expensive. So I just needed people. I wanted people and women in particular to feel that lightness that you feel, that vitality, that energy that you get from a lymphatic drainage when you feel so light and your skin is glowing. But I was aware that it was expensive and it's something that you have to do often and that you have to do consistently. So it's not realistic to expect to go see a therapist 2-3 times a week. So I started playing with tools that were inspired by Colombian maderoterapia. And while this is in my opinion, a very invasive technique, people get bruised, it's hard.
It hurts a lot.
It hurts and it's just not enjoyable. So I went back to the principles of lymphatic drainage massage that started in 1930s in France. And I connected the maderoterapia, making it less invasive and making it user-friendly. So I started playing with different designs and different tools, and that's how the body tool was born.
So the body tool, this is the first tool that was born.
Yeah.
And you were telling me that this was born in 2019, which I know we were talking about this just recently. I think there's a little big silver lining because you launched a company, you didn't raise any capital, right?
No.
Like you were doing this on your own.
I had no idea. It was very organic. I mean, looking back, now I know how people start businesses. I did not start like that. So I wanted everybody to experience what I was feeling. And I wanted, like, my skin cleared up. I was already eating healthy, working out. I was already doing all the things, but I still needed that detoxification, and I didn't know. So when I started incorporating that, I was like, wow, this is kind of like the cherry on top. Everybody needs to add this to their rituals. And that was all I wanted. And I started playing with tiny little runs from a woodworker in Colombia, like 20 units, and I could not give them away.
So the product is made, so this is made in Colombia still.
By hand, yeah.
And the whole process behind it, so for people that are watching us, like you use it anywhere in your body, right?
Yeah.
Like walk me through.
So I designed this tool with all different nooks so that you could work it in different parts of your body. So this little nook fits perfectly in your arm, and it allows you to drain all the excess toxins into your lymphatic nodes that are underneath the armpit. Then you have this one that you can use on the neck, because everything.
Do you have to start with a certain area in your body?
Yeah, we always start in the upper body, in the left side, and then move down the stomach, legs, and then wrap up in the stomach again. So you start.
So the legs is not the last part. You go back to the stomach.
You go back to the stomach because everything enters and leaves through there, because that's where we have the biggest
what about the
clusters.
Face?
The face is kind of like you can do it separate. So you can do just the face or the body. I like to start like from up. If I'm doing the whole body, I start the face, and then I start with my arms, stomach, legs, and then I wrap up with the stomach.
So you launched this October, end of 2019, correct?
Yeah, I was pregnant.
We hit COVID, which there's a humongous boom of finally this world of wellness took off.
Yeah.
So there's a silver lining here because, you were doing everything very organically, but then people had all the time in the world to be at home and to have the time to try this all day long.
Yeah.
So we were just talking that before COVID, you had about 10,000 followers, and then immediately a few months later, everything kicks off and you're 50,000 followers, correct?
Yeah, it was crazy. Also, when I started the business, we did a little bit of influencer gifting. And at that time, Melissa Wood Health had about 200,000 followers. And she was just doing her workouts in her living room, very organic. And I loved her from the beginning. I sent her the body tool, and she reached out to me personally, and she was like, I've been looking for this my whole life. You have no idea, because she's a big fan of lymphatic drainage massage. And in COVID, she started doing it, and everybody caught on to it, to the point that I thought my website had been hacked, because I'm like, this is weird. Why are we getting all these orders? Obviously, it was very challenging. My daughter was born March 1st of 2020. So I had a newborn. My business was booming and supply chain was broken. So it was...
How many SKUs were you selling per day in March, April, May 2020?
Well, we were selling...
Over 200?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good for you.
I had so my mom and everybody came to meet the baby, and then they got stuck here because the airport's closed and everything. So I put everyone in like a working line. I'm like, everybody needs to pack these boxes, because at this point, I wasn't working with a 3PL or anything. I used to get 15 orders a day. So I would pack them and I would walk them so proud to the mail. And then all of a sudden we have 300, 450 orders a day. And I literally had every single person in my family packing these boxes. We have pictures. And then we had to chase the USPS little truck because they didn't want to take all these boxes. So we were just, it was really fun, very stressful, again, because we were always sold out. Because we couldn't get the wood, and then in Colombia, people couldn't walk.
And everything was closed in Colombia for a while, correct?
So
it was a big shutdown in Colombia, right?
Like the workers couldn't get to work. So it was a very, very challenging time, but we made it.
But you were getting the product.
I don't know how, but we were. We were.
So fast forward, what was the second product that you launched?
And then, we just wanted to build an arsenal of tools that would give you that spa experience at home. We didn't know at this point how long we were going to be locked in for. So I was like, okay, well, I had done an Ayurvedic certification. So I'm like, dry brushing is huge for lymphatic drainage in Ayurveda. Great. So we added a brush. Then, well, you need to be very hydrated to be able to use the body tool and not pull or bruise your skin. So then we introduced oils. And then we introduced a lifting cream. So we started growing the line in a very horizontal way so that everything kind of like fit in a ritual. Gua sha is the Chinese way of lymphatic drainage. So we introduced gua sha, the roller. So we've had all these tools that kind of like complemented the at-home spa experience, and it's been great. It's been very well received, and my idea with wellness is that it needs to be quick, because nobody has 4 hours a day. It needs to be inexpensive. It can't only be for the 1%. It needs to be for everyone. And that's what we are trying to achieve with De La Heart, and just friendly. Like, it doesn't have to be so hard. It doesn't have to be all these steps. You don't need 25 products. Like,
do you still make everything in Colombia?
Yeah,
Or
well, the tools,
expanded?
we've expanded because,
The brand has expanded.
Yeah, we've grown, and the only thing that we still make in Colombia, and we've expanded the atelier, and we hired more people, and we have a really cool program in Colombia where we work with disabled workers, and so we have a giving back, and we also plant trees.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, so
for every piece that you sell,
we plant a tree.
That's great.
So these two are still made in Colombia by hand, and it's a lot of work, but Colombian artisans are so talented, and I've tried to go somewhere else, but it's really hard to get this type of finishes. I mean, you can't pull the skin, it can't have a little pointy edge, so I think it's hard to get this done if it's not by hand.
So now, the word wellness, it's so overused. I mean, we talk about it. It's so much information. I feel like now, like, I'm obsessed with wellness. I don't know. I don't do anything in wellness, but I'm a very big consumer.
But you look great.
Thank you.
It's working.
I do a lot. I do a lot for that. And there's just so much information. And, you don't even know where to, like what you were saying, like, less is more. Walk me through your process.
Like my
through your
routine?
ritual all day, like of the things that you focus on and how it's incorporated with everything of De La Heart, of course.
Yeah, so I've been in this industry now since I was 25, so I'm 37. So I've tried everything. I will try everything once, and now I have built kind of like my own kit of what, in my opinion, is effective and works. So I'm an early riser. I love to wake up at 5 in the morning. I have a meditation practice. I meditate every day.
What do you meditate?
I do different ones. I'm a Dr. Joe Dispenza. I love him.
All my friends love him.
I meditate to his.
Have you been to some of his conferences?
I've booked twice and I've been canceled twice. So I'm just letting the universe take me to the right one. So I do that. I also do some Deepak. He has like really short ones that are like 10 to 15 minute ones that are on Spotify. So I love doing those. So every morning I meditate, I wake up, I drink 32 ounces of room temp water to kind of like hydrate my body, cleanse, and wake up my system without like that harsh kick of caffeine. So I try to like warm my body. I started doing the Artist's Way, which is...
What is the Artist's Way?
The Artist's Way is a program. It's a book that is kind of like a self-study to ignite creativity, and just you basically wake up every morning and write 3 pages. They're called morning pages, and you just dump. It's like a morning dump. And the shift in your brain, it's like you just took up so many things that are there from the day before, or little
so
thoughts.
You write whatever.
Whatever.
Like
it's not even like journaling, because I feel when you journal, you're a little bit more like...
with a purpose.
Yes. No, this is just dump. Like, I don't even read it, because I'm like, I don't want to read that
It could
craziness.
be like what you did that day?
It can be anything. Like, you just sit there and you let your hand go. And it's been so amazing.
Interesting.
It's been great. You have to look into it.
You do this at night?
In the morning, as soon as you wake up.
How do you do this in the morning?
I wake up at 5 a.m.
I wake up at 4.
Yeah.
I talk
It's
about
the
it a
only
lot.
time. It's the only time.
I do it because I have severe ADD and I have to be ahead of my
Focus.
team. So the only way for me to be ahead of my team is to wake up at 4.
Yeah.
Because if
My
not,
team
I'm
is
gonna be
my
behind.
children, so I have to be ahead of them. So I wake up at 5. I do my 30-minute meditation. I do my pages, 6 a.m. Then I get to I don't open my phone until an hour after I wake up. So then I do emails and I get ahead and work and then have my coffee or my matcha.
Because your
or
kids
whatever.
are young still. They're waking up early.
Oh, they're early risers.
Of course.
So, and every
You
day
have
is like a
young
little
kids still.
earlier and earlier. I'm like, oh my God.
You'll be done soon.
Yeah.
From that stage.
And then, then I interrupt and then and when I meditate now, I'm really into the red light. So I bought myself a red light panel. So I kind of like.
Which one do you use?
I use Juve. Yeah,
I just saw it in a
big
friend's
one.
house.
Yeah,
The big
it's
one.
great. It's very strong.
Do you do red light sauna?
I don't have a sauna, but I love a sauna.
I'm actually literally placing an order this week for home.
You should get it.
I'm super excited.
I love a sauna. I
And
have a cold plunge.
They're not big enough. Like they fit in a room. You know.
Yeah. I have a cold plunge. I love the cold plunge.
I hate it. I can't handle it. I need to learn how to like that.
I don't think you ever get to like it.
How long do you last it now?
It depends. I use it more as a tool to put me into a deep outer body meditation. I like that, I have to connect or else it's too hard. So it's like 3-4 minutes, whatever, depending. I also do it with my cycle because it can disrupt your hormones. So whatever my body can handle that day, I've stayed up to 10 minutes. Other days I can only do like a minute.
Whatever your body's telling you.
Yes. So I use it as a tool to put me into deep meditation. I'm really into the deep meditation and brain waves. I'm really into that work right now. So I love it for that. But I do love a sauna. Saunas are delicious. My neighbor actually has one and we have sauna dates.
The product. When is the product? When did the product launch? The skincare. Walk us through.
So
all this.
these launched. This launched in December 23, and they are the evolution of our first oil. So when I first started introducing skincare to pair with the tools, because you need that hydration component. You do need those peptides that hydrate your skin, that lift, that hold on into water, like hyaluronic acid. We have pearl powder that adds shine. So it's like, you do need those components. So I started formulating our own blends, and these are all our own blends. And formulating and getting all the testing, it takes a lot of time. So I was pregnant with my son. This is the belly balm when I started formulating these. And they launched like a year and a half ago, December 23. And they are, this Flow and Glow is our lymphatic drainage oil. So this is the one that we like to pair with the tools to really get that detoxification that you need, that anti-inflammatory property.
So I'm totally like, I need to incorporate this into my life. I do that before showering?
You can. It's personal
Or
preference.
the oil could stay as like a lotion.
The oil can stay. I like to keep the oil, but there's people that hate the oil.
No, I like oil. So I
Yes.
could leave it as like, so I could do it. So there's no reasoning, right or wrong. Do it
The
before or
only
after the shower?
reasoning, it's with the dry brush. You always want to dry brush before you shower, because when you dry brush, you're collecting dead cells because we detoxify through dead cells on the skin. So the brush is removing them. So you want to rinse after to make sure that your pores are open and clean, and that this helps take away burden from your big detoxifier organs, liver, pancreas. So you want to make their job a little easier. So you do want to rinse, and
So
then
the
your
brush
pores are
before
open.
showering.
Brush before shower, then you hydrate and you sculpt after. So that's what I like to do. Sometimes I can't do the sculpting in the morning because I have a meeting or I have to go to work. So I like to wind down when I get home. My kids are down. I put my legs up against the wall, hydrate, and put on a nice podcast or a nice song, and just drain.
What
and
is the
sculpt.
difference between this one and the big one?
So I travel a lot, and
great.
I'm always on the road. Either my husband is racing because he's in automotive, or I'm traveling for work. So this is just a more travel user friendly. It's a lot smaller, and it also has, as you can see, it has the round edges. So it's really, I designed that to be able to work the abdomen with it by protecting our organs, because we have a lot of valuable organs in this area, and these rounded edges allow you to move away when you're bloated during that time of the month without kind of like hurting yourself.
Is there any studies behind this, with, like, for example, for the face, for Botox, for fillers, for people that are doing things in their face?
You are supposed, if you do Botox or fillers, you're supposed to wait 2 weeks until the fillers have really attached to the tissue or the bone, wherever you're putting them. And then you can do it as usual. The gua sha is really good when you're at the end of your Botox cycle to help it really
Stay
metabolize.
lifted and
Yes. So you want it, when you're at the end of like those 6-8 months that your Botox lasts, it's really good that you start really using your gua sha to really make it go away. So you metabolize it faster and then you kind of like start fresh.
makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
The hats. So I was at a dinner last night with like 30 girlfriends, and I was telling them that I was interviewing for a podcast today, and they were talking about the hat. And I was like, no, you guys are confusing her with someone. I was like, so tell me about this item that has become your bestseller.
Yeah. Well, Della Hart is really kind of like the mirror of what goes on in my life and issues that I can relate with other women. When you say cellulite, 99% of women have it. Even if you work out every day and only eat and drink green juice, you still have it. So I like to relate to women in that sense. And when I had my babies, I got really, really bad melasma. Like, full mask. My face was scary. And I still, while I was treating my melasma, I was breastfeeding, so I couldn't do much. I was still wanted to walk my baby outside because the first thing they tell you when you have melasma is like zero sun. You cannot see the sun. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, I have a baby. I want to take it to the park. So take him to the park. So I started playing with different hats. I've always been a hat lover, but baseball hats they always hit up to your nose. And I was getting like a mustache from the melasma. I was getting the sideburns, my neck. So I started playing with putting like a bandana, and I saw that it gave me a little bit more shade. So I just, I started playing with some manufacturers of making the visor, but I had to make it a 5-inch wide brim visor because I wanted the neck coverage. I wanted the chest. I wanted it to be fully covered, that I felt safe. And that's what I was able to achieve. So, I made one for me and a few friends. I gave it to my mom, and everyone in my neighborhood started. It was, again, I think it was like 21, where we were still in like a semi-lockdown. All my neighbors were like, where did you get this? Where is that? Where is that? So we started producing it just in block, like a few units, and we would sell out and would sell out and would sell out. So I finally decided to, invest and go hard. And now it's become our bestseller because there's been, how there's different booms in beauty and skincare. Now everybody's like healthy aging. You want to protect your skin, like no sun. When I was growing up, I would put baby oil on, I was 14, 15 at the beach. Now it's like, God forbid you do that, right? Now it's all about like...
I still see 12-year-olds doing that, and I'm like, wow.
When I'm at the beach...
idea how much that's going to cost you.
I give people, when I see people like with
it covers a lot.
I'm like, here, please take this. Like, and they're like, am I for real? Please just wear it. You're giving me a little bit of anxiety. So this was great, and now it's in this past 3 months, it's taken over all our SKUs, and we have 4 colors, and we launch 2 seasonal colors a year, and they're just fun. They're inexpensive, they're chic. You can dress them up.
They're great, and the
my friends
beautiful.
wear them to play padel. So
they're great.
Yeah, they're great. And they protect, and I've been able to heal my melasma, and I get no sun, and I owe it to this visor.
And it's great because the pivoting of the company is also with everything that's happening in the world. Obviously, this had a
moment,
had a huge moment when you launched. We had all the time in the world to be at home to do a 50-minute ritual. Obviously, now we're back to life. We're back to everybody being in the run, being out, we need a hat. We
Yeah.
need great hats. So it's great how the company, it's now a lifestyle brand. It's a lifestyle
It
wellness
is.
brand
It is a
that has
total
pivoted
lifestyle.
with each things that we're going through in life.
Yeah, and now, now we're having a lot of fun because we get to play with, ingredients like hyaluronic acid had a big moment in taking it into the body because we've always
So the
spent
body lotion has
hyaluronic acid. It has peptides. This is like the good old Colombian caffeine green tea lifting cream, the one that like kind of itches a little bit. So that is my inspiration. And we're having a lot of fun because we are catering to the needs that are happening right there. We don't have this vision of like, oh, we need to go there. We just want to continue to service our community. De La Heart is a very community-driven brand. It's something, like you connect with someone. They're like, oh, I use that hat. Oh my God. Like yesterday, I went to the Miami Open and I met a girl. She was like, oh, what do you do? And I said, oh, I own a skincare line. She's like, oh my God, I own your visors. I love them. Right? So it's so beautiful to see that you are helping other women deal with issues that you have yourself. And that, like when I walk or I drive down Miami and I see women with their babies, with their kids, or walking on their hot girl walk with my visor, just makes me feel so nice. It makes me feel like I'm like I feel you, girl, and I got you.
So now let's talk business. The majority of the girls that are, or men that are listening to us in our podcast are entrepreneurs or have a dream about launching their company. Having your own business is extremely challenging. We focused today on the beauty of the story and your purpose in life that led you to create an amazing wellness lifestyle company, but it has so many challenging. Like I always tell people, just get a job, guys. It's so much easier to get a paycheck. Like it's so much easier.
Yeah.
That said, it has wonderful, amazing things when things are good. What have been one of those moments that you're just like one of those learning curves that you could give the entrepreneurs today, like, or someone dreaming of scaling their beauty brand that could help them? Something that you've learned, that mistake that has helped you learn so much,
I started with $2,000 and I don't have any investors. I'm still privately funded. And the beauty of, everyone's always when they say, oh, I want to start my business, but I don't have money, right? The beauty of not having money is that all the mistakes that you make are never too big. They're little.
I always say this, they're going to cost you very little.
They cost you very little. So the learning curves have been relatively inexpensive, and they don't affect the livelihood of anyone in your enterprise. And you learn, right? You have a small run that didn't work, you learn. Rather than you bought 25,000 units and you have them sitting in a warehouse. And so that I think it's always a challenge to not, you want to do so many things. You want to have a beautiful event. You want to send beautiful press boxes. But, then you have to really allocate, like, where should my money go? What is going to make an impact on my priority, which is my consumer, right? So I think working on a tight budget has really made me a very creative entrepreneur. And
it makes you resilient.
Yes. Like you never give up. I think one of the hardest times was because, this tool was the first of its kind. We disrupted this market. There were no body tools before De La Heart. And people are watching, and when everybody started copying you and making it in different materials, and now everybody has a body tool. I think that was really hard for me because I felt that I didn't go hard enough because I was a little scared. I'm like, what if it doesn't work? Like, I didn't want to put a burden on my family so that was a little disheartening. And then you learn, you say, listen, I am me, and that is my gift, and that is my superpower. I get messages from our community saying, I bought this tool on Amazon for $3 and it sucks, and I am here buying yours because I love you, because I love the tutorials, because you want to belong to something. So you can't you can't listen to the noise that's outside. You have to really trust yourself and put your head down and work and focus on your why always. Come
That's
back
a great
to your
advice.
why.
You have to be super true to your why and your
Yeah.
purpose, because it's really hard. We get at LAFS, we get so many copies on a daily basis, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
But because there's days that you just stop believing in yourself and you start questioning everything
Like, why
that you
am I
do.
even doing this?
Correct. But I think, what you've done so well is you've built a community since the work community was being so used and abused in 2019. And, the reality is that, you've been very true to the purpose, and people want to be part of this. People want to be part of this whole Gigi to the heart world, right?
Yeah, and that, now another word that is very used is the authenticity. I have been very authentic. I share it all. I say, guys, yes, I love my gua sha, but I also get Botox. And so I'm very open with my audience. And in the more recent years, I've become a little bit more open because I was always nervous of keeping my privacy and my children. Now I surrendered, and that's created a more clear line of communication with my followers, my clients, my friends. And now we're doing more in-person events. We're having I'm hosting my second wellness retreat in Mexico.
Where was the first one?
It's always in Mexico. I have a very special relationship to the Riviera Maya.
Oh, I love that place so much.
It's so magical.
Where in the Riviera Maya?
At Nisuk. Yeah, so Nisuk is
How many people do you want?
We have 25 people
That's great.
this year, yeah. And I'm super excited, and we partner with two amazing yoga and movement facilitators. I host all the lifestyle, all the wellness. We move, we cry, we have fun. So
it's what, 2-3 days?
It's 3 days, and it's a full immersion in wellness. I curate the diet. I curate the movement. We get really beautiful gifting and products, and then I give a full masterclass on lymphatic drainage. So it's really magical.
When is the next one?
It's coming up April 3rd.
That's exciting. And the 25 girls, they just book it on your website?
Yeah.
Randomly? You don't know any of them?
We have a couple of repeats, and then a lot of my Miami community that I know, and we have some people that I've never met before that I'm excited to meet. And so it's always a fun, you walk into these retreats. I'm a big yogi, so I always do yoga retreats, and you walk into these retreats and you don't know anyone. And then by day 3, it's like your sister. You found your long lost sister, and you get so close to these people. So it's really beautiful to hold that space for transformation. And my purpose with the retreats is to show women and people, this time we have some men, how good you can feel, how good you can feel when you don't drink for 3 days, when you eliminate gluten for 3 days, when you're eating mostly plant-based, when you eat clean, high-quality protein, when you're moving daily, when you're doing sauna, when you're detoxifying, just so you have a bar of, okay, I can feel this good. And that's okay. We all go back to our lives. We have a little wine. We have a late night. But then that your bar has raised, and you know how good you can feel, and you know how clear you can think, and how deep you can connect. So that's kind of like my goal with that, just showing people how good and how powerful our bodies are and how much potential we have.
And also, you created a community online, but there's also that power of people feeling you, hearing you, meeting you in person, getting to experience all the other product they haven't tried in person, and also to experiment other things that are part of your life and your ritual that are not the lahar, but you want your community to be incorporated into them. That has to be done in person, right? So that's great that you've incorporated the wellness, rituals of going into these little tours and retreats.
Yeah, hopefully more. And it's actually hard to have this. You think you know people when you're doing e-commerce and you have this online connection, but you really don't. So it's really nice to connect in real life. So that's why I love this type of conversation. I love, events. I love any opportunity that I have to connect with people in real life, because then they really get to see who you are, not what you're sharing. And that always hits a special spot.
What's next for you? Where do you see, obviously we all dream really big and it's good. Mm-hmm. Where do you want to take this?
I see myself growing in this category, and obviously continuing to grow De La Harte and going after a bigger retail market, because we're mostly direct to consumer now, and we want to be in all the websites and all the big box retailers. But then also I'm working on another project that is in the same category, just same, a little different, and continuing to just grow and try to reach more people, and continuing to show that beauty starts from within. And, because growing up in Latin America, beauty was very from here out. Like, you would do whatever it took to be skinny or to have good skin. And I'm working it a little backwards. Like, it starts from the inside. Mm-hmm. It starts, when you see somebody, sometimes you run into a friend and you say, oh my God, you look amazing. What are you doing? She's like, oh, I just got engaged, right? It's that glow. It's that feeling. So kind of like going back to that when you're, as a woman, when you're fully expressed, when you feel good, when you're living, when you're thinking, everything is aligned, you look beautiful. And this is all extra. So
that's beautiful.
That's the message that I want to continue to.
Gigi, thanks for being here today. I'm super excited. I'm excited for what's next. I have no doubt that this brand is going to just keep growing and keep sharing your light with the rest of the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you.